Hi, I'm Kirk Hanson, Director of Forestry for the Northwest Natural Resource Group. This is the third video in our series on pre-commercial thinning. In the last video, I walked through felling techniques for working in Velcro stands like these where trees have a tendency to get hung up in the canopy. Now I'm going to discuss the techniques I use to get these stuck trees on the ground. Once a tree is leaning, one of three different types of blocking techniques can be used to cut the tree into numerous pieces, or blocks, until the crown of the tree eventually releases from the canopy. There are three basic styles of blocking techniques: undercutting, the bypass cut, and the open face cut. The simplest blocking technique is the undercut, wherein you make consecutive undercuts on the bottom side of the tree perpendicular to its length. Undercuts require a lot of upper body strength, and you have to be mindful of when the tree begins to fold inwards, as it can catch your saw. The second blocking technique, or bypass cut, is made by first making a perpendicular cut from the top about midway through the tree, then making an undercut from the bottom of the tree just an inch or two below the uppercut. The tree will begin to fold in on the uppercut. This can be an easier and safer technique than the single undercut technique, as the tree often folds in more slowly, giving you time to remove your saw. The third blocking technique, or open face cut, is made by first cutting an open face wedge in the top of the tree, then following up with an undercut immediately below the wedge. Similar to the bypass cut, the tree will gradually fold in on the open face wedge. Another option for getting a tree on the ground is called the lift and roll technique. If there is a clear opening to the side of the tree in which your cut tree is hung up, you may be able to roll your cut tree out of the crown of the standing tree that it's hung up in. To do this, you must first cut a wedge out of the stump immediately below the hinge on the side of the stump in the direction you want the tree to roll. Then, make several boring cuts in the bole of the tree to create a hole in the trunk. Cut the hinge, leaving only a couple of inches on the side opposite from the wedge you just removed. Lastly, use a small diameter pole to lever, or lift and roll, the tree in the direction you want it to fall.
It's not uncommon when you're falling in the woods that the trees that you're falling will bang into some other small diameter and really pliable trees like these two alder trees. And the alder trees or the pliable trees get kind of bent over, and it puts a lot of tension on the backside of the tree, such that if you were to come in and cut the backside, it could barber chair, and that can be a really dangerous situation. So when you have trees that are bent over like this, we often call them spring poles. There's a couple techniques for relieving the tension in the tree and getting them to come down safely, and I'll demonstrate two different techniques on both of these trees. What I'm going to do is just make a series of little cuts on the compression side of the tree. The tree is tilted that way. There's tension on the back and there's compression on the inside. So I want to relieve the compression in there, and when I do that, the tree is going to fold in on itself. If I were to come in and cut from the backside, that's where it could snap and pop up. So we're going to cut on the inside and get the tree to fold in on itself. With this tree now, rather than cutting in, making those little slices like that, I'm going to come in and shave kind of a cup in there. That's going to do the same thing. That's going to relieve some of the compression on the inside and get the tree to fold in on itself. I think that's a little easier sometimes with a larger diameter tree like this.
That covers the techniques I use to get hung up trees down to the ground. And it also concludes this series on pre-commercial thinning in young dense stands, where we covered stand assessment and tree selection, felling techniques, and dealing with those hang-ups. Of course, the techniques demonstrated in these videos should only be used by experienced chainsaw operators, so if you have limited experience, we encourage you to get training or work with someone who does. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out at us at the Northwest Natural Resource Group. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you out in the woods.